Texas A&M just put the SEC on notice. The marquee matchup this past Saturday was between number 14 Texas A&M and number 8 LSU. Both teams lost their opening out-of-conference game, but since then, they had been winning, stacking win after win, and both were undefeated in conference play. Actually, the last two undefeated teams in conference play. No, it wasn't Alabama, Texas, or Georgia. Also partly because Texas A&M and LSU haven't played those teams. But anyway, I digress. This is a huge matchup for SEC title contention, playoff contention. For Texas A&M, Connor Wigman got the start. Despite not really putting up very impressive numbers, he was getting it done, and he really led the bounce back. He was leading the bounce back for Texas A&M throughout this season. After a couple bad Texas A&M offensive possessions, including a fumble, LSU jumped out to a 10-0 lead in that first quarter. At the end of the first, Aggies did put together a good drive finally and capped it off with a Le'Veon Moss rushing touchdown. In the first half, the passing game for LSU was clicking. Garrett Nussmeier responded for the Tigers after that Moss touchdown, found Anderson on a rare, really poor defensive play from the Aggies. But LSU jumped out to a big 17-7 lead at halftime. Going into halftime, Kyle Field really wasn't feeling great. This is where we have to highlight Mike Elko. He made adjustments on the defensive side of the ball. They were giving a lot of space to those LSU receivers a lot of the time. It just gave Nussmeier time and space to find his guys, find his receivers, and jump out to the 17-7 lead. But in this second half, they started baiting Nussmeier a bit. They ramped up the pressure. Big reason why that momentum started to swing was also the offense. Elko decided to put in young backup redshirt freshman Marcel Reed to replace Wigman, who actually ended the game with less yards than Reed, despite Reed only throwing it 2 times. I bet you're wondering, how the hell did Reed change this game if he only passed it 2 times? Well, the answer is running with the read option. Reed is really a different type of quarterback than Connor Wigman. Wigman's more of, your traditional college pocket passer quarterback. He can get out and run, but Reed is really a true dual threat guy. I can't really blame Elko too much for going with Wigman, given that he was winning games and he was the more experienced guy. But I think at this point after this game, you gotta look at Reed and say, okay, this has got to be our guy, because he was very dynamic with this dual threat offense, and just Texas A&M is a really good running team. You add on a running quarterback like Reed's that's very dynamic, and you got what you got in this game. Going back to the start of the third quarter, Garrett Nussmeier made his first real big mistake. Just a bad decision, no other way to put it. On the first play of that ensuing drive, A&M goes to their new QB on the read option and scores a touchdown. Very first play, Kyle Field is ramped up. On the next drive, LSU drives it down a bit, but they have to settle for a long field goal. And going into this field goal, the Tigers were 1 of 3. And this time they couldn't even get the field goal off. It was just a disaster play. And this turned up the home field advantage, that 12th man, even more. Like I said, momentum was fully in A&M's side now. Moss started running all over this LSU defense, and they capped it off with another rushing touchdown from Reed, and A&M took the lead. LSU coming back, they needed a long, sustaining touchdown drive, and that did not happen. The defensive adjustments I mentioned earlier played in hand here. Really disguise zone defense pick right here. Aggies got the ball back with good field position again. That defense doing them wonders. And they went back to the read option. Marcel Reed walked into the end zone again. This man could not be stopped all night. To top all that off, Reed showed off his throwing skills with a downfield bomb to Noah Thomas later on in the game, and that finished off the drive with a Le'Veon Moss touchdown. You look at it, they outscored LSU 31-6 in the second half. We can have another conversation about LSU's inability to finish things and do well in the second half, but I really wanted to shout out the Aggies for the adjustments that they made and really took advantage of a crumbling LSU team that just seemed to keep on spiraling as the game went on in the second half. Combined with Elko's defense, you know, he's got a talent and his schemes defensively have been very good. The new look Aggies could go all the way, considering their toughest game left is against the Texas Longhorns, which is going to be tough, but that one's at home. We could be looking at A&M in an SEC championship game, or if not that, maybe at least a college football playoff if, you know, they keep going the way they are. This was a huge statement win for Mike Elko, and you think about this. 1 year turnaround here for Texas A&M has been very impressive. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Can Texas A&M go undefeated in SEC play this year? How do you like their chances against the Texas Longhorns? Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thank you so much. We got to 1,000 subscribers. I'll have, you know, some kind of special edit on the way for that one. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.